you just don't hear anywhere else.
News Talk 105.9 WMAL.
Making sense of the news. Now.
On 105.9 FM and streaming worldwide on the WMAL app.
O'Connor and Company.
7:37 here on this Friday morning in your nation's capital. Thanks for making it through the week with us. Coming up at 8:35, Representative Mike Waltz of Florida is going to give us an update on the hurricane recovery efforts in his state, and we may dabble into some presidential politics. It's always a possibility. That's coming up. I'm Larry O'Connor alongside Patrice Onwuka. Good morning, Patrice.
Happy Friday, Larry.
Yes, and to you as well. Friday means a couple of things, especially this time of year. To me, it means it's time for the football weekend. Navy has the day off tomorrow, but there's going to be plenty of other great college games. But this week, the dominant story is the Battle of the Beltway, where your Washington Commanders make their way to Baltimore. Mm-hmm. Commanders 4-1, Ravens 3-2. So clearly, Washington is a better team. Remind me again, Patrice, because I know you live in Maryland. You're in Prince George's County. But we both live in Maryland. But are you a Ravens fan?
Well, I'm not. However, I go to a church that's closer to BWI, and so both the leadership surrounded. And a lot of the church, I'm surrounded.
They all dress in purple and black as they worship the Lord. That's
annoying.
And
they pray for the Ravens to win on Sundays. It's interesting. It's fun.
Well, they can pray all they want, but Bram Weinstein's here to explain how the Commanders are going to go up there and throw a little Edgar Allan Poe throwdown there in Baltimore. Right, Bram? Right?
Let's see. We're praying for a win. We're writing poems about a win. All right. I like listen, I like this. We're back, if that's what we're talking about. I like it.
Yeah, that's for sure. The atmosphere at Northwest was amazing on Sunday. Seriously, so joyful and just excited, the fans, that they really were engaged in the game. And every time Jaden Daniels snaps the ball, everyone's sort of, what's he going to do? What's going to happen next? But the Ravens are they may have originally been the Cleveland Browns, but they're a lot different than the Cleveland Browns from last Sunday.
Yep, they've been in the playoffs 5 of the last 6 years, 15 of the last 24. They are one of the most stable and successful franchises in the NFL. And I think, frankly, if you ask Adam Peters and Josh Harris and Dan Quinn, that's the group they'd like to emulate. What they're starting here is hopefully what they're going to build is what the Ravens have built. They have a really, really great franchise with a unicorn quarterback. They win a lot of games. They're extremely tough to defend, and they're in it. Every single year they're consistent. And so while this feels like, to me, kind of the first big game of this new era, and I really can't wait to see what it looks like with this team against that team, This is old hat for them. I mean, this is their third big game in 3 weeks, you know, and that's what we hope to aspire to, is to be that team where every week feels like a big game for the other team.
And Bram, Baltimore had a tough start, starting 0-2, and everyone's like, oh, what's wrong with the Ravens? And now they're definitely bringing it. However, is it fair? We kind of have an apples-to-apples comparison because they just won a nail-biter overtime victory against the Bengals, which the Bengals did whatever they could to sort of mess that game up. And meanwhile, the Commanders played that very same Bengals team on Monday Night Football, and yes, it was a high-scoring affair, but they seemed to handle it quite well on the road in Cincinnati. Can we look at that and sort of see a roadmap maybe for this Sunday's matchup?
Sure, Super Bowl matchup, right? This is what that's where we're going to end up. So, yeah, a little bit. I mean, I think it's kind of different points in the season for sure. Like, for Washington, the win up at Cincinnati was kind of, I think it was a proving point. And the way I kind of look at it was really the beginning of something. Like, the moment where Jaden Daniels found Terry McLaurin on that crazy pass late in the game and sealed it was like kind of the first moment of, we have something special that's starting here. 2 weeks later, they've played their two best performances by far, both sides of the ball, and they're really kind of rolling into this. Baltimore's kind of ramping back up. Like, they had a really slow start, a really unusual loss to Las Vegas at home. That's very, like, they've got the third best win percentage over the last 25 years up there. So it was a very unusual loss to a bad team. And they've kind of turned back around to where their offense is where I think everyone expected them to be. They're terrific rush offense, best in the NFL. And their defense actually is unusually porous right now. They're bottom 5 in pass defense this year. It's very unusual for them. But I have a feeling because, this goes back to the original part of the conversation, they're going to fix it because they always do. And I think that they're kind of getting back into a place where they're finding themselves, and maybe Washington's kind of catching them at the right time. I know they've won 3 in a row, but their defense is ranked in the bottom third of the league. Washington's offense could not be playing better over the last 3 weeks. If you play this game in a couple of months, I'm not sure where the Ravens are defensively, and it might be a different outcome. All
right. So that said, it is a road game. It's in Baltimore. As you said, the Ravens are a very, very good team. It's definitely the toughest test yet for this team.
Sure. Yeah, no doubt. I mean, last week, I'd argue right now that Cleveland's defense is better than Baltimore's, but that's right now. Cleveland's offense is not, so that's a very different conversation.
And certainly the running game. I mean, Derrick Henry looks like he's just a new man now in playing in Baltimore than he was in Tennessee.
Yes, this is the really, really unusual thing that could happen this year. This team, Baltimore, could have back-to-back MVPs on their team. Would be different players. I mean, that's a very, very rare situation. Lamar Jackson obviously is the reigning MVP. He's done it twice. Derrick Henry already has over 500 yards rushing, so he's on pace for about 1,700. That's a humongous number, but he's a 101. I mean, this is his 125th game. He's hit metrics that only people like Jim Brown have hit. So he's a unicorn player too. He's rejuvenated there, and their running game is everything. They average over 200 yards a game. It's a ridiculous number. I kind of when you say how are they going to stop it, they aren't. The question is, can they limit it? And in the past, if you said hold anybody to 150 yards for the game on the ground, you're doing okay. That's crazy, and it's not typically a path to victory, but against them, it might be.
All right, Bram, I'm calling it right now. It's going to be a shootout, but Jaden Daniels is going to put another page in his legend book for his rookie season. He's going to win it in the 2-minute drive in the final seconds of the game. There you go. That's what's going to happen.
He does that. The hymns and the prayer books are going to change to burgundy gold up there.
That's right. We've got God on our side, Weinstein. All right. Thanks, man. Good talk. Enjoy the game. This is a blast. All right. Take care.
It is going to be a good one. Thank you. Bye.
7:44. By the way, of course, you can hear Bram Weinstein on our sister station, ESPN.